Over the last decade, what bands have you been involved in?
Been in Primordium. I played drums for Primordium. I currently play drums for Sepsis. Played drums for Nancy. Played bass for a couple shows with a call for backup. And I had a really fucking awesome unnamed project with Jim Knapp and Dylan Leva that I played drums with.
Alright, if you want to break it down for each band, do you recall favorite shows for each band?
Oh shit.
Memorable show?
Yeah. Ooh, that's tough. Well, favorite Sepsis show so far. Probably the first show we ever played was like wicked fucking awesome. That was cool.
Right.
Best Nancy show. One of the more fun Nancy shows was we actually played a show the day that the Civic Center massacre happened. We played a show that day at Fitzy's, which is right down the street. You could fucking throw something out in front of Fitzy's into the Civic Center. It's that close. And the bands that were playing that with Nancy were Lucretia and Strength Approach.
Yeah.
There were two bands on tour from Italy, and that was kind of crazy because Lucretia had played here before, but with Strength Approach and like some of those guys just coming here, and that was like their first exposure to Binghamton. They show up and it's a fucking media frenzy, and like things are just going absolutely crazy because of this massacre. I mean, for them to come and like see ours, that was their date in Binghamton was the day the Civic Center massacre fucking happens, and that was just pretty amazing. It was very, it was raining out, and it was just a very, very strange night. But once the music started, everything was just awesome. The turnout wasn't that great, but it was still, it was pretty incredible. One of the best Primordium shows we ever played. We actually played a show with the Legion with Accursed Dawn that Evan McNamara booked. I just remember that as being like a really fun show. It was kind of like last minute, and that was just overall just a really good time.
Binghamton venues have come and gone over the years for a number of reasons. Some have refused to do shows after damage was done to their property, as well as some because of violence at shows. Others simply closed due to financial reasons. I asked those involved to discuss memories of venues past and present.
What involvement have you had in actually setting up local shows?
I'm not with. Let's see. I got Ronell's to let us have shows. I think I convinced Ed at Fitzy's. I helped, at the very least, helped get the skate park to do shows, and I think and that's so far back now. It's 2099.
Right.
Like originally, to get them to do shows, and then I've always had house shows at the various houses I lived at. So I guess been pretty into doing shows.
With the like that modern hardcore thing or whatever that happened like early 2000s, mid 2000s, a lot of the bands, they brought people in. There's some big shows with that, especially like the Legion. But a lot of those places ended up either closing or not allowing anyone to do shows because of damages and fights and stuff. Do you think that's like affected the way sort of the whole scene's perceived amongst those who own venues now, or do you think it's had any negative impact on everything for everyone else?
Well, I was pretty vocal about it when it was happening.
Right. So what's your take on it?
I mean, yeah, they fucked things up for people. Like, it was one thing. It was different in that there was so much violence with each other,
right?
As opposed to like more being like a united type of thing where everyone's together, and then violence happens. It was like violence was the reason that it was happening, and maybe not. I was outside of it. I never really was into it. I don't feel like going in and watching someone's girlfriend get punched in the face or windmilled in the face. So I think that that had a greatly negative impact.
What venues do you two recall that no longer exist, and what are your memories from these shows?
Too many. I would honestly say 123 Fake Street, American Legions, and Endicott and Binghamton. underground theater, Frank's houses, wherever he would live at whatever time. There's too much to name, man, too much. And I just remember lots of drinking, lots of good bands, lots of good people, lots of bad people, and all around good times.
Venues I remember, Ronell's and East Coast Terminal, American Legion on Main Street. Those were probably, when I was going to shows more consistently, those were the three that shows were always at, those venues. New Cheers Pub on Clinton Street. The thing I remember about all those venues, except for Ronell's, they all had like horrible fucking sound. East Coast Terminal and the Half Pipe was kind of cool. When they moved into the other huge room, that sucked. That was absolutely horrible. American Legion had like the worst fucking sound ever. You couldn't hear anything in there. It was just too massive. New Cheers Pub, kind of lame. Most of the shows there kind of fucking sucked. But Ronell's was by far the best venue of that time. A lot of good shows, a lot of good metal shows, and grindcore shows. Bands like Ed Gein coming down from Syracuse, and you know, those were really good times. That was like pretty much the only time where you could catch some underground, really heavy bands.
Shows that happen at East Coast Terminal, the Legion, they get big turnouts with like modern day hardcore bands, like we're talking about, sort of. But they end up in fights and be damaged property, and the venues would either be closed or no longer allow shows to be booked. So, what's your take on that? How did that affect the local scene? You know, as far as venues, what's your take on those bands and that whole mentality?
Well, I don't know. I was never really into the hardcore bands, so I can't really say too much about them. But as for the destruction, I don't know how much that actually affected venues. I think people worried more about what it would cause, but I mean, tons of shit happened at Ronell's. They still had shows there after like someone ripped out a fucking sink. And at the Legion, they always threatened, you know, to not have shows there anymore, but they still did. And yeah, I think it was always just more of a threat that never actually like really caused any place to shut down. And even if a place did shut down, you know, someone would always find something new.
Binghamton's scene has often been viewed from the outside as a town filled with people who are only concerned with what they are doing and don't necessarily like outsiders. Although this stereotype is perpetuated by things such as the Binghamton Show's online message board, where local musicians and showgoers trash talk everyone, including themselves, many of those same outsiders don't realize that there is a sense of humor that goes along with the community. I ask those I'm interviewing to attempt to explain Binghamton's politically incorrect ways.
So Binghamton kids tend to be a little less PC than others. A lot of joking, a lot of humor that's sort of unaccepted elsewhere. What's your take on that?
I think it's awesome. Because I feel like one thing that Binghamton's always been about is more about what's fun, not what's right or what it should be. And that's one thing I hated about the New Paltz scene, is everyone was really uptight, you know. But down here it's like, I've got gay friends, you know, but it's like, I don't call you a faggot because you suck dicks. You know, I call you a faggot because you like winced when you got pinched or something. You know, or it's like you just did something not manly. And I'm not manly, and that's like, you know, you can own these words or something.
Binghamton is relatively on-PC. You know, it's like
relatively,
right. Yeah. You come in here, you get called like derogatory terms.
Oh yeah.
People slap you in the nuts and call you like, you know, whatever.
Yeah.
Without being too vulgar, so I can still use it. Like, what's your take on that? What do you think of people coming in from the outside? Do you think they get it? They don't get it? What do you think?
I don't think people get it for the most part coming from the outside, and like that's, you know, I love that about our scene, is that it's like really on PC, and that it's like deliberately like that. It's all just about making like just awful off-color comments all the time. You know, when bands are playing, like running around in a circle and like throwing beer on everybody, and throwing beer at the bands, and you know, spitting on bands and shit like that. I think it's hilarious. People from other towns come here, and I don't think they really get that at all. That it's just kind of like really, really like juvenile and immature, but it's hilarious at the same time. That we just act so blatantly disrespectful to each other, but it's all in good fun.